Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon Marcello. This is Joel A. Erickson. We're going to not necessarily talk about Auburn per se, but we will. We're going to talk about the SEC West race because the SEC East is muddy right now, and it looks like Georgia's going to come out maybe as the cleaner pig.
Clean on the other side.
Yeah, clean on the other side, yeah.
Shawshank.
Like Shawshank Redemption. But it's a four-man race right now if football programs were men. And they're both, Alabama and Mississippi schools. You look at the schedule, it's so tough to really even pick a favorite at this point because Alabama still has to play Mississippi State, and Ole Miss still has to play Auburn. And then you look at big weekends in the SEC, and there's not really one of those weekends where you can go, that's the one where we're going to learn something, because everything's kind of spread out. It's very difficult, and it's shaping up to be one of those type of seasons, which we haven't had in some time in the SEC, where it's going to come down to the final weekend, and it might still be 3 or 4 schools still up for the SEC West crown.
Yeah, this year's been so hard. Some of you know I don't like predictions anyway, but this year's been really, really hard to figure out any kind of narrative nationally. In the SEC, it's a real weird year from that standpoint.
Yeah, good luck, College Football Playoff Committee.
I mean, you got Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got the best defense in the SEC West, or in the SEC.
Yeah. Mississippi State might have the most dynamic offense in the SEC West because you got a playmaker back there that can just do whatever he wants. It seems.
And then you've got two really, really, really good teams in Auburn and Alabama,
with probably the 2 best coaches in the league.
Right. So
yeah. Good luck getting a read on what's going to happen.
In a way, I kind of like seasons like this. I like seasons where I don't feel like I know what's going to happen. But it's really hard when it's got to be really hard for fans. And I had a column on this last week about how you shouldn't pay attention to the football playoff, but it's got to be hard because if you turn on ESPN, click on any college football website, that's what everyone's projecting is the college football playoff every single week, and this doesn't feel like a year where you should try to project. This is almost a wait and see year, and I know it's hard to do that, but I mean, think about what every time we go into a week where it's like, these 4 teams or these 5 teams look like the clear front runners, and then 2 of them lose.
Right.
Like, it's every after that big blow up week, every week's felt like that. So it's a wait and see year. The other thing to remember is we didn't think last year was a wait and see year. There were still 13 undefeated teams in the top 25 as of the midway point, and then Auburn ended up in the national championship game. So the lesson is, a lot's going to happen, and trying to predict it is really hard.
Yeah, and then you look down the line outside the SEC. You got Kansas State with 1 loss, just went on the road and beat OU.
The Big 12 looks like it's a minefield,
It's a minefield. People can go in. I mean, there might be I don't expect it, maybe a 2-loss champion there, and then all of a sudden maybe Big 12's eliminated. Then you look at the SEC, and I said before the season, I don't see it happening now, but I said before the season you could have a 2-loss SEC champion. I mean, it's possible with the West, the way everybody's beating up on each other possibly here down the road. And then, as I said, there's no big weekend in the SEC of multiple games remaining on the schedule until the very last one, the Egg Bowl and the Iron Bowl. But will it come down to that? Will someone trip up? Will Mississippi State trip up at Kentucky? I think the biggest game.
Well, there's a couple of wild card teams too, because I mean LSU's starting to look like they're figuring it out a little bit. You never know with the Les Miles team if they're going to,
especially young talent that start getting confident.
Right. You never know if that's a team that could just put one together. Arkansas has come real close already to a couple of earth-shaking type.
I'm starting
things.
to wonder about them, though.
Yeah,
I think we're finally starting to see.
In terms of the capability, though, the capability's there.
Possibly.
Maybe. But again,
Yeah, who knows? The biggest game coming up is November 1st. Auburn and Ole Miss. That'll tell a lot for Auburn. If Auburn loses that game, they're on the outside looking in, and they've got to get some help. And then they've still got to go to Georgia, which looks like a legit top 10 team, the runaway favorite to win the East in the SEC right now. And then Auburn's still obviously got to go to Alabama. Auburn has got the toughest schedule remaining of those West teams.
Mississippi
I think
State's probably got the easiest.
Mississippi State, yeah. Mississippi
have to go
State
on
has
the
to go
road.
on the road
They have to go on
to
the road.
Alabama November 15th
See, it's
and
really hard.
at Ole Miss on the very last weekend. And then Ole Miss has Auburn November 1st. And then from there, they should win out and go into the Egg Bowl. But even this weekend, Ole Miss is going on the road to LSU, and Ole Miss is only a 3-point favorite, which I don't know if you can read something into that, but Ole Miss's defense is playing so well, and they're going against an LSU offense that's got so many young guys, especially a quarterback. What happens there? But Ole Miss looks susceptible to things as well. I mean, it's early in the season. Boise State game, for example, you're watching.
Well,
what's happening.
even if you watch the early part of the Tennessee game, their offense just really struggled against Tennessee's defense, and all Tennessee did really was, from the part I saw, I was on the grill, so I was sort of watching.
He was being cooked.
They were doubling Laquan Treadwell, and it just threw him off for a long time. So the moral of the story
run the
is
ball that well.
the moral of the story is with all this speculation is it's really, really muddy year. Maybe more muddy than we've seen it in a long time.
Yeah. So just enjoy it. I know you're probably all going to have your, hearts racing for the next month and 6 games, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Auburn's definitely not out of it, and I mean, if Auburn wins out, they'll be in the college football playoff. I don't think there's any doubt about that, especially if they're standing right now. And same goes for Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Alabama. And then Georgia. Georgia wins out, wins the SEC title, then they're in the college football playoff. Then who's maybe that second team in the SEC that gets in? So, yeah, a lot of things.
My head is spinning trying to get through this video.
And listen to this. Like you said earlier, a lot of undefeated teams left at this point last season. Then Auburn, which was, I think, about 19th at this point in the polls, ends up being number 2 and gets to the college, or to the BCS championship at that point. So there's no telling. There's so much chaos that's going to happen, and but here's what's great about the chaos. As much as we complain about the BCS computers and all that, we get to watch what human beings do and try to figure out starting October 28th. And they're going to release a top 25 every week. And I guarantee you it's going to be looking a lot different week to week. And they're going to look a lot different at times from what you see in the AP and coaches poll. And that's going to make people mad as heck at times as well. That's my prediction, so enjoy it.
My prediction is I'm going to have a headache.
Yeah.
All season. More coverage on Auburn and their matchup with South Carolina coming up at AL.com this week. Just try to do a little bit something different with the video since it's been on the bye week and there's not a game to rehash. Stay tuned.